What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are doing awesome and taking care of yourself. So today I wanted to follow up on a story that I was talking about in the last podcast. David Michael Digna Jr. He was a range supervisor in the Nevada test sites for the Army. Now, these are live fire test sites where they go down, they do live fire, different weapon systems and things like that. And his main goal is to protect everybody on the desert floor. So he's looking out for anything that is a threat. Now, why am I talking about him? Because he was on the Disclosure Project in 2023 with Stephen Greer. And whatever you think about Stephen Greer, if you like him, great. If you don't like him, continue to listen, because this guy's story is amazing and 100% believable. And you can watch it and you can discern from yourself. Now, this Michael Digna Jr. got a brain injury, but that didn't affect his ability to tell his story. It didn't affect his ability to speak. Brain injuries can affect the way you think or how you're able to process information. But he did a great job, even though he was super stressed out, because this event eventually led to the end of his marriage and his ability to communicate with his child as well, because it sounds like his wife took his child from him and he wasn't able to talk to him. So anyway, so what happened? So I believe it was 2002. And he was talking about how his job was to be the range supervisor. So if there was any aircraft coming in, any dangerous situation on the desert floor with a live fire, he was to communicate and stop. He was in charge of stopping the live fire rounds and exercises. And a lot of times, not a lot of times, but there was times where guys would get killed on the live fire floor because of accidents. So he had to be very aware, and he stated he was the fastest, promoted individual in his MOS in 25 years. MOS is Military Operational Specialist. So anyway, specialty. So he gets promoted. He's young, but he's doing a great job being, range supervisor. And what happens next is mind blowing. And there's two events that are really interesting. So the first event was after the live fire. They're 3 stories up as a supervisor, 3 stories up above the desert floor to supervise everything, so they can get a good bird's eye view of everything. Now they finished up for the night, and he's looking out, he's cleaning up, his area, and there's 2 RAYTHEON defense contractors and a military army an army officer, I believe it was, on the top deck with him as well. Now he was in the back, so nobody could really see him, and the RAYTHEON and the officer were looking out into the sky, and Michael Digna Jr. was able to see that there was what appeared to be a V-shaped craft with 7 lights. So it looked like kind of like the tip of a spear, black, 7 lights on the bottom. Now, away from that craft appeared to be another craft, and this other craft was a smaller craft that looked like it was made out of cubes, also resembling a V, but had little hooks coming out of the bottom of it. Michael Digna Jr. was looking through his night vision goggles. The night vision goggles in 2002 only showed basically green, white, and black. Okay, old night vision goggles, what you think of in like the movies. And he was able to see color in his night vision goggles off of this second craft, leading him to believe that it might have been some sort of hologram. He's not 100% sure, and he even said that. But he believes that's what it may have been, given the fact that he was able to see colors through it. Now, he knew that this was the first craft was, he said, it's one of our birds. He said the RAYTHEON contractor and the other officer were not surprised by seeing this craft. they'd seen it a million times before, and the way they were kind of talking about things, and you could hear this was something they'd seen many times before. Now, they turned around and they saw that he was there. They weren't happy about it. He could tell their demeanor changed. They walked inside and left him. He thought this was extremely bizarre. It was his job to keep the range safe and to even start a siren and alarms if there was any threat to the live fire desert area that he was in supervision of. And so for him to not get any notification was extremely bizarre. Okay, so that part of the story probably has a lot more detail to it than I'm giving you. I mean, this is what he was able to give in maybe like a 10-minute expose at on a news conference. Okay, give me 1 second here. Okay, so next, the second story, and this is really interesting, is that after this event, I'm not sure how long after this event, but not long. It's pretty close to it. He and his wife were going to the movies, and it was a well-deserved time off. He had been like on for like 72 hours, and they were going to go see a movie. And you could argue that, oh, well, he was on for 72 hours. He had sleep deprivation or something like that. But here's the story. So the story is he's driving what appears to be like a Grand Am Grand Prix type car back in the day. He's driving along this stretch of highway. It's obviously out in the desert. Nothing out in the desert. It's at night. All of a sudden, his car stops. Why does it stop? Because there's a freaking alien ship right in front of him. Now, when I say alien ship, it's not tentacles and shit like that. It's a black diamond, okay? Many people have reported the same ship, including Jim Penniston out in the UK in the 1980s. Air Force Special or Security Forces talked about how he interacted with a ship. And he touched the ship, and it reported very similar experiences, almost exactly similar experiences to Michael Digna Jr. So Michael gets out of his car, and this ship is sitting there. It's in stasis. It's in perfect lock. It's not moving. It's hovering above the ground. He gets out of his car. His wife gets out of the car. She's locked in place. Once she gets out, she's locked. Her mouth's dropped open. She's in stasis. He's telepathically told by the ship that she's in stasis and she's safe. He goes up to the ship. He looks at this ship. It's a perfect diamond, 3D diamond shape, and it's fully black. And he touches it. He wants to touch it. He goes up to it. It has this aura around it, just like the ship in the UK did in Rendlesham Forest. It has kind of an aura to it, like a white aura around it. But he can go up to it and go through it and touch this thing. And when he touched it, moving up towards the craft, it was smooth. When he pulled back away from the craft, he said it felt like a cat's tongue or like shark skin. It had that kind of like roughness to it. And as he pulled his hand back towards himself, he could see these micro shavings starting to come up off of the craft, and it had multiple colors to it as it started to fly up in the air. Like rainbow colors, all the colors of the rainbow just flying up off of it. So he was amazed by this thing, and then all of a sudden, he also got paralyzed and was looking at this thing, and all of a sudden it lifts up. It lifts up higher above him. And what does it do? Underneath it, he reports multiple different portholes inside of it that look like they're for charging or God knows what. But he said it looked like there was multiple ports that resembled three-holed ports, not necessarily for like an electrical cord, but basically like three. They're used for microphones. If you're familiar with microphone cables and cords and connectors, it looked like the female connector on the bottom, but multiple of them. And he also reported that a porthole opened up, an actual hole in the ship opened up, and he saw a feminine humanoid. And she said, you weren't supposed to see something. And he couldn't remember what. But he remembered what happened next, because he was brought into the ship along with his wife, who was in stasis, along with his Grand Prix, into the ship. And his story continues on from there. At the press conference where he was speaking about this story, he stated he had, there's obviously more to the story. He had to cut it short, and Dr. Greer had to cut him short because he was going on a long time. And there was like 6 different whistleblowers that had to come up and tell their story as well. So he had to cut short. But that's where they cut it short. And I think there's a lot more to this story. I think that, I think he got to find out more information. I'm sure he got contacted by the government, and, he didn't even get to that part of it. But it doesn't matter if he got contacted by the government or not, because his story is so amazing. And there's like graphs and things like that, and pictures of not pictures, but, artist renditions of this. If you want to go check out the Disclosure Project 2023 news conference, it's on YouTube. Go check it out. You'll be able to see it. Michael Digna Jr.'s later on in the in the press conference, maybe a little bit past halfway. So I definitely recommend it. I definitely recommend checking it out. You'll be able to see that this guy doesn't seem like he's telling a fib. I mean, especially after having to lose your wife and lose your family and lose everything. And a lot of these guys did lose everything. A lot of the guys on that stage lost everything, and you'll hear many people tell their story and how they were kicked out of whatever they were part of. I think it's fascinating. And that's why I like to tell these stories, because share them with you, because I think they're important for everybody to know. So, have you heard anything more about Michael Digna Jr.? Have you heard anything more about any new whistleblowers? If you have, feel free to drop a comment in the comments section. I'd love to hear about that. I think that, when we hear these stories, we also have to compare them to other stories that we've heard. And the other stories that I've heard have been, relating to this similar type of craft, have been Jim Peniston, have been the other security forces that were there, that were on the ground, that were from America in the UK, in Rendlesham Forest in 1980. And all these guys have written a book. All these guys have shared their story. And all these guys have a story to tell. And they all tell pretty much the exact same story. And that there was this craft that had a red light on it that was bouncing around all throughout the forest. And Jim Peniston was the one that was able to locate the damn thing and actually touch it. And it actually communicated a binary code to him. It downloaded it into him. And they were able to decipher what this binary code actually said. And it basically said that this ship was from the future. And this ship was from 8100 AD, so basically 6,000 years in the future. It also gave coordinates as like areas of interest on the Earth. It gave coordinates, and they all deciphered those coordinates and figured out where they were. Maybe they were bases. I don't know. But it did say it was from 8100 AD. That basically breaking down this code. But it was a binary code. It wasn't like some alien language they had to decipher. It was just a binary code that he was writing down out of his head, and it was like books long that he had to write it down, and they put it into a computer, and that's what it spit out. I mean, it was fascinating. So hopefully in the future we'll have more ships that people are able to have interactions with. Talk to the ship or talk to the occupants and gather more information and share it with us. Because we know the government's not wanting to do it or not able to do it yet. But until then, we're having plenty of people whistleblowing, like Jake Barber, David Grush, David Fravor, and more. I mean, Michael Herrera, Michael Jaco, Emery Smith, Randy Kramer. These guys are on Gaia. And David Rice. I mean, lots of guys have come forward throughout the past couple decades and told their story, and they're very valuable stories. So if you get a chance, go check out Gaia. Cosmic Disclosure. There's a couple great episodes that just came out. I'm going to do podcasts on those too. I have to watch them in full, so I have the full information, but they're going to be great because they're about time travel, a project that the government worked on to time travel, and then there was a project name for it and project details that we're going to get, so it's going to be fascinating. So stay tuned for more. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening in. Appreciate you guys. Please leave a comment if you have anything to comment about, to talk about. Be happy to do a topic that you're interested in. Love to hear about it, and continue to follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. Protect yourself and your loved ones, and as always, continue to question the universe around you. Until next time, guys, take care. Locked On Universe out. Peace.